What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we are beginning our talks on the Circle of the Spores Druid, which takes a very different look at what a Druid can be and can be based on. It's a lot of fun, but is it mechanically sound? We'll have to find out today, but before we do that, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, most people who watch this video are not subscribed, so please don't be one of those people. Help us to reach our goal of 2,000 by the end of this year. I think we can do it, but I need your help in order to get there. And of course, share the video with your friends and click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. So the Circle of the Spores Druid is really a unique one in that it focuses on fungal life. You know, we have a big focus on animals when it comes to the Moon Druid. You know, we have a big focus on beasts and fae when it comes to the Shepherd Druid. And then with this one, we're focusing on fungal life, which is interesting. It's very different, but it is an essential part of nature and a part of any balanced ecosystem. And so it's something to be looked at, and I think it's really interesting to have something that that feeds into that. Is it any good? Let's find out. So starting off at level 2, we actually get 3 features, and we start with circle spells. Now this is something that not every subclass gets. It's really the land druid and then the new ones added in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything that get this. So it's a really good amount of help to this subclass. It definitely is part of a power creep initiative that has come on with new subclasses that have been introduced. But let's see if these spells are any good. So at level 2, when we pick this subclass, we go ahead and pick up the Chill Touch cantrip, which isn't too bad. Chill Touch isn't my favorite cantrip, but it's not the worst out there. We also then get Blindness and Deafness and Gentle Repose at 3rd level, Animate Dead and Gaseous Form at 5th, Blight and Confusion at 7th, and Cloud Kill and Contagion at 9th. So this definitely helps us out in what it is that we can do. Now, a lot of these spells are things that we already had access to. There are a few things like Cloud Kill, for instance. You know, we focused on a Cloud Kill based druid back when we talked about the land druid, so you can check that out up in the icon above right there. We made a build basically focused on the land druid's ability to ignore poison and disease, but also be within its own Cloud Kill and lock people down within the Cloud Kill. It was a really fun build. But so this one does get access to Cloud Kill, but it will not be nearly as effective in the way that land druid was if it went for the same strategy. But we do get a few other things in here that are useful. Overall, there's enough overlap here, and the ones that even aren't overlap are not crazy amazing, at least as a full kit entirely. I'm just gonna give this a 6 out of 10. Yes, it's nice having these spells ready to go. It saves our prepared slots, but I mean, they're not incredibly useful, at least not in the sense that we have seen in other circle spells and other expanded spell lists from other classes. At level 2, we also get Halo of Spores, which is tied to the 3rd ability that we do get here, but it's still useful, and so we'll cover it as its own ability. So basically we have a 10-foot aura around us at all times, and whenever a creature that we can see moves into that space or starts its turn there, we can use our reaction to deal 1d4 necrotic damage to that creature, as long as it doesn't succeed a Constitution saving throw against our spell save DC, and this increases up to a d6 at level 6, a d8 at level 10, and a d10 at level 14. This isn't great, right? It's only 10 feet around us, and the damage is really pitiful. By the time we're reaching level 14, you know, we're having other subclasses just within this that are dealing way more damage. We are having classes that are not the druid that are dealing way more damage than 1d10 on a reaction. I don't see the scaling all that great. We're on average only picking up 1 extra damage every 5 or 6 levels, which is not the best. So this isn't that great of a feature, to be honest. Just limited range, very limited damage. I've got to give this a 3 out of 10. It's not good. It's just not good. It's nice to deal a little bit of chip, but overall, the amount of kills you're going to get with this, or the amount of times that this damage is going to make a game-changing difference, are probably going to be very slim. Finally, at level 2, we get Symbiotic Entity, and this is what kind of bolsters our second ability that we got with Halo of Spores. So we can enter a state whenever we use our Wild Shape feature to awaken these spores. So instead of transforming into a beast, we can actually take on this fungal form, and of course you can make this look however you want it to look, but we get 4 temporary HP for each level that we have in Druid, which is nice, just free temporary HP. And while we have this feature active, we also get to roll a second die on our Halo of Spores. So this essentially just gives us 2d4, 2d6, 2d8, or 2d10 damage on that. Still nice, you know, it helps out. Is it game changing? No, but it's helpful, I guess, to using our reaction to deal a little bit of extra damage. And our melee attacks deal an extra 1d6 necrotic damage to any target that they hit. That's useful, right? That could come in handy, you know, especially with crits under the current system. Of course, this could end up getting nerfed whenever we switch over to 5.5e, but you know, it is what it is. It's nice for now to deal a little bit of extra damage. This lasts for 10 minutes or until we lose all of our temporary HP, or until we use our Wild Shape again. So here's the thing, right? Doubling our damage from Halo of Spores is okay. Is it a game-breaking amount of damage? Absolutely not. It is nice having damage we can do on our reaction. But again, it's a 10-foot range, so it's very limited. We've got to be up in somebody's face. So with that said, you know, you're saying, well, you know, if they're up in your face like that, you can use your reaction to blow that, and then you're dealing extra damage with a melee attack if you wanted to deal extra damage there. So you're starting to rack up some damage. Yes, however, it's not that simple to where the math really works out. You've got a lot of other abilities here, a lot of other people who will outscale this very quickly. Here at level 2, you're going to feel great, and you're going to be dealing enough damage to really be chunking most of what you're going to be facing at level 2. However, as you get higher level, this is going to fall off severely, as it does not scale at all from 1d6. 1d6 is only going to get you so far as starting out at level 2. Good now, not so good later, unfortunately. The other problem with this ability is the fact that it only lasts until your temporary HP goes away. Here you are wanting to be a somewhat frontliner, boosting your ability to hit with melee attacks, hit harder with those, the extra damage in that 10-foot range around you. All of these things kind of culminating to you want to be up in someone's face, except that this feature goes away if you get hit for X amount of damage. At level 2, it's only 8 HP. That is nothing, right? It's nothing. And so eventually, yes, this amount of temp HP is going to be nice. Obviously, you'll have 4 times 20 levels once you get to high level, but even that can be eaten through 2 or 3 big hits. And you wanting to be up in the fight, you're gonna get hit, because especially since you don't have access to heavy armor to help you on the AC side, and if you don't have proper bolstering in your saving throws, you're not in for a very good time with that. So for all of these reasons, I think this falls pretty short. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. It's not useless. It does help with our Halo of Spores feature. It does help with our melee damage. However, I highly doubt that you're going to be able to benefit from all of these things and keep it for the full 10 minutes if your DM is targeting you on a regular basis. I just find it hard to believe that you're going to be able to keep this going for as long as what this seems to advertise. At level 6, we get Fungal Infestation, and this allows us to use our understanding and control of fungal life to actually bring things back from the dead, kind of. And it's terrifying, and it's great. So how does it work? Well, whenever a beast or humanoid that is small or medium dies within 10 feet of us, we can use our reaction to animate it, causing it to stand up with 1 hit point. The creature uses the zombie stat block from the monster manual, and it remains animated for 1 hour
after which it dies. Now in combat, it takes its turn immediately after yours and obeys your mental commands, and the only action that it can take is the attack action, making one melee attack, and you can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier per long rest. So here's the thing. A zombie is not a terrible thing to have at level 6. We're limited to the fact that it has to be within 10 feet of us, so within our already limited halo that we have around us. So it remains animated for an hour, but it only has 1 HP. So, you know, yes, we have the ability to possibly come back on a die roll. You know, we have the ability with zombies to possibly not die when it hits 0 HP. So if you got lucky, this thing could live forever. Are you going to get that lucky? Probably not. So I highly doubt this is going to last you the whole fight, especially since it only has 1 HP. Yes, it interrupts action economy and can get your DM to be distracted for a little while. I'm okay with that. You know, that can really help you to last a little bit longer. But overall, it's not bulky enough, really, and the saving throw is not reliable enough for me to count on this, and we have to be within 10 feet of it and use our reaction. That's assuming we didn't use our reaction already to deal our 1d4 or 2d4 damage. Well, I guess it's 1d8 by now, but to deal that little bit of extra damage to somebody who's already there. And remember, if you used your reaction to deal that damage and then it kills something, you can't use your reaction again to do this. That's problematic. When you're gumming up that reaction, that's not good. It makes this thing kind of confused in what it's trying to do, because you use one ability, but now you're punished because you used an ability, so you can't use a different one that you wanted to use more. I find that to be an issue. Overall, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. It's okay, right? It's nice having a minion there, but the ability to get a hold of that minion is going to be limited. And it keeps you from wanting to use one of your features if you think that the creature is especially low on HP. So that's not good. A feature that makes you hesitant to use a different feature because it might mess everything up that you wanted to do is not a well-written feature, in my opinion. At level 10, we get spreading spores, and this allows us to take our spores that we have been harboring over our head this whole time and take it on the road and make it a little bit more mobile, which might end up being nice. So with this ability, what we can do is, as a bonus action, while we have our symbiotic entity active, we can throw the spores up to 30 feet away from us, and they will create a 10-foot cube for 1 minute. They disappear early if we use this feature again, or if we dismiss them as a bonus action, or if that feature is no longer active. So whenever a creature moves into the cube or starts its turn there, that creature takes your Halo of Spores damage, unless the creature, of course, succeeds on a con save against your spell saving throw DC. The creature can take this damage no more than once per turn. While the cube persists, you cannot use your Halo of Spores reaction. So here's the thing about this. This takes it to where you physically can't use one of your features here. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, because we just talked about this with fungal infestation. Fungal infestation says it also uses a reaction in order to take something that has been killed and just make it animate into a zombie. So this keeps you from gumming up your system. However, this is a feature that says, hey, at level 10, if you use this feature, throw your level 2 feature out the window. It is nice that you can deal the damage basically as many times as you want, as far as I'm aware, as long as they are stepping into that area and it does not require your reaction to do so. So that is nice, right? It is a con save, which is not good. That is pretty much the worst kind of save that you could be going up against on most enemy monsters. So that's not helpful for you at all. And the thing is, it can be 30 feet away from you. So if this does kill something and you're not within 10 feet of it, you're not getting a zombie out of it. So now you're just not defended. You don't have anything around you. So that's not great, but you still have your bonus, as far as I'm aware, to the 1d6 extra damage to your melee attacks. It's level 10. You know, 1d6 is on average going to do what, 3 to 4 damage? Who cares at this level, to be honest? So it's just not helping us out nearly as much as what it seems to be. And again, I don't like features that say, hey, look, by using this feature, you can throw a different feature in the trash. That's not good. That's not synergy. That is actively working against itself, which is not good. This feature is not the worst feature out there. Overall, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. It does do a little bit better than some of the others. However, taking away a feature might not be the worst thing, which is why it ranked as high as it did. You know, it forces you to not use up your reaction in order to use up your different reaction. However, you could throw this up to 30 feet away. And then if you kill something that is 30 feet away from you with this, oh well, it's not like you can use your reaction to raise it up as a zombie. You're still having to kill things that are within 10 feet of you, or at least be there when they die. And that's just very situational and not necessarily a situation you're going to always want to put yourself in. So that's why it ranks where it ranks. Finally, at level 14, we get Fungal Body, and this actually gives us a number of really nice benefits. We can no longer suffer the blinded, deafened, frightened, or poisoned conditions, and we can no longer be crit as long as we are not incapacitated. This is huge, right? This takes away some of the most problematic things that are out there. Being blinded, of course, if we don't have some kind of blind or true sight or something like that, then we have disadvantage on all of our attacks and we are being hit at advantage, again, eating into our temporary HP. We could be deafened, which could end up being more problematic. Frightened, of course, we may not be able to put ourselves into a position that we would like to be in. Poisoned, just disadvantage on pretty much everything that you're wanting to do in a combat, so that's also unfortunate. And it also makes you immune to crits as long as you are not out. That's also really, really good. It's level 14, and we've had some lackluster levels up until now, so it's nice to finally get a 10 out of 10 feature. This is just awesome. There is no downside to this feature at all, and I can't think of any better way to rank this. It's absolutely fantastic. Yes, it's late, but I mean, this is a very powerful feature, so it makes sense to get this at level 14. So that is all of our rankings. So where does this land us with the Circle of the Spores Druid? So as you can tell, I don't have the highest thoughts of this Circle of the Spores Druid. I think it's a really awesome idea, but I think it was very poorly executed, and it makes a very lackluster Druid. Now, obviously, you have all of your spells as well. It's not that you are just completely confined to what is here on this piece of paper. But here's the thing: we don't have any kind of ways to boost those spells. We don't have any kind of ways to boost our wild shape as it is. We have a different way to use wild shape, which I love that aspect of it, to use wild shape to assume a different form other than just the bestial one. That's what makes these things unique, and I really love that. However, mechanically, it just falls short. In flavor, it's all there. Mechanically, we're high and dry. We are not doing nearly as much damage as what would be appropriate at given levels. We are using our reaction on two different features that we want to use it both on, and one could trigger the other in a scenario. So that's also a problem. You always need to be near people, but you don't want to get hit by them as to lose your temporary HP, so that you don't keep losing this feature. That's kind of the only reason that you chose this subclass in the first place. That makes this rather difficult, honestly. It makes it very, very hard to pick what could be useful about this subclass. So overall, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. It's not the best. Is it completely unusable? No, I would not say that it's completely unusable. And again, in all of these rankings, I'm not saying that a low ranked one of these is completely useless and that you should never look at it ever in your life. Like, you should never think about it. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that compared to other druids, especially things like the Shepherd Druid, which we talked about last week, like the Moon Druid, which we talked about a few weeks ago, things like that are just going to perform better mechanically than this one. If you've got an amazing idea for something flavor-wise, play this. Definitely do that. However, I just want you to know that you might be disappointed on the mechanical side, whereas some of the others provide a little bit better support in what you're trying to do. So that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Later this week, we are going to be fixing the Circle of the Spores Druid. It's weird having to rewrite a Circle of the Spores Druid being from the new Tasha's book. You know, you would think that where everyone talks about the power creep being so real with Tasha's and just all of these later books, having to rewrite one from one of the new kind of books is kind of weird, but I think it's necessary in this case. I just don't think that it does quite what it thinks it's going to do, and that's just unfortunate. So it is what it is, but we're gonna see what we can do in order to fix it. So until then, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video. Bye-bye.